Yeah. Yeah.
Shut up.
I don't even know what episode this is.
92. I was like,
I was like, bitch, you don't either. Okay. Okay. Welcome back. Welcome back. This is episode 3 of Atomic Habits series. Holy smokes. 92?
Yep.
3?
Bitch, that's 8 episodes away from 100. What?
Are we doing? What are
Also,
we
I
eating?
wish I wasn't in such a terrible headspace this week and I would have acknowledged our anniversary much better, but I was just like, I hate everything.
No, I understood. I was like, she's not in the space.
I wasn't.
Goodbye. I was not about to even try. I was like, okay, so she's not doing well. Okay, bye. I'm not even addressing that.
But I
Okay.
appreciate that you know that leaving me alone is the best option.
Yeah, because I was like, she wants to talk, she'll talk. If she
Correct.
doesn't want to, I'm not gonna fucking. I'm not knocking on that door. I'm not. Especially with what I got this week, I'm not. No, like you let me know. You let me know when you're good. Oh, bitch. Okay. Anyways, you know what? I'm so proud of us. This was only like
We
30.
made it through.
Only 30. No, I'm talking about the start time. Only 32 minutes. Oh, yeah.
Did we get on at 6:20? Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. It was early.
Well,
Yep.
Yeah, because I was like, I'll just sit on my phone if she's not busy. And 2 minutes later, you're like, bang, bang. So,
Well, because I saw that I got an email that you joined my Zoom room and I was like, oh, she's early. Let me just get on.
oh, let me do this.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Here we go. We're doing it. So today we are going to talk about the third law and the fourth law and just kind of the summarization of the book, Atomic Habits. So if you're okay with it, I'm just going to jump right in.
I mean, I figured.
Okay. I figured.
You've pretty much taken control of this whole series, which is fine because you have all the notes.
Because I'm just going to read it.
And I read the book so long ago that like I know the gist of it, but you have all the details in front of you. So
yes,
have at it.
Third law, make it easy. So action delivers an outcome. So when we are looking at creating new habits, we are looking at motion versus action. So motion will never produce an outcome, whereas action does. So motion allows us to feel like we're doing something, and motion allows us to delay feeling like we're failing. Preparation can be a form of procrastination, so trying to get everything like set up in the right order for the right time for the best thing is just really delaying us starting the habit. He talks about just getting your reps in. So the more that you repeat the activity, the more that your brain structure changes to become efficient at that activity. So again, as the more consistency that you have with this habit, the more that you are likely to be repeating it. Does that make sense? So he talks about long-term potentiation, which I was like, that's not a fucking word, but apparently it is. So this is strengthening of neurons in your brain to form repeated patterns. Your brain regions can increase in size as it's used and atrophy when it's not used. So if you don't use it, you lose it. So that thought process. I always when I talk to clients about their brain structure and whatnot, I always refer back to, I always refer back to Inside Out, where they're on the journey to get back to the control center, which is the brain. And then they go through where the two little worker guys are throwing out old memories and stuff. So there's 2 consolidation moments in your brain structure as you grow. And one is in your early adolescence before double digits, and then one is in your later teens. So those 2 moments where they condense things, I think about this when he was talking about it. If you don't use it, you lose it, of them just tossing memories over the side. So repetition is a form of change, and it is critical to forming a habit, which is why Steph and I, literally, you can go back to I don't know how many episodes we talk about, consistency is key. We are looking for consistency, not effort. So it doesn't matter if you went to the gym for 90 minutes one day and you're just so sore and everything. It matters if you went to the gym 10 minutes a day throughout the week. That's more important. That's setting the habit. So habits form based on a frequency, not time. Again, consistency is key. So every habit is an obstacle to getting to what we want. So it's just about moving through those obstacles. Habits that stick usually have usually have required little to no effort, such as scrolling our phone or watching TV. There was also this thing, I wish I could remember it better, but there was this thing I was reading about where it was talking about when people go on social media and scroll, it's the same effect as how people get addicted to gambling, of like the surprise effect. Like there's an actual like word and term for it, but it's like eventually there's so many times where you're going to get something good that you just scroll because it's little to no effort and it doesn't really cost anything. So you just keep focusing your effort on that. And I was like, oh, that is very, very familiar because I do absolutely. I'm like, what's going on?
Yep.
What are
Well,
people
especially
doing?
with TikTok and like the For You page, it's all things that you enjoy, that you like, and it's just going to keep feeding it to you.
Yes. So he talks about the thought process behind making it easy, because the third law is make it easy. So the idea behind make it easy isn't for it to always be easy. It's about like optimizing your environment to make it easier for you. So he talks about resetting the room. So picking up the room as you go. So for example, you're in your living room and you're watching TV at night, and before you go to bed, he talks about like shutting off the TV, folding up the blankets that you have, rearranging the pillows, something that's going to take less than 5 minutes, but when you wake up in the morning, that's going to feel so refreshing versus seeing everything spread out all over the place.
Yep.
I make it a point to try and do this, and which is why I try to do the dishes every night, because I don't have a dishwasher. And I've talked to a lot of people about how dishes is like my gateway chore of like I've timed myself. Usually takes me 4 minutes or less to do what would be considered like a like medium to big load. And then that I'm seeing that through fruition of like this messy, yucky pile, something, and then it's all completely done. So then it makes me want to do other things of just like a little bit tidying up here and there, which is so easy to do once you get in the mode of doing it. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So he's talking about, so again, resetting the room, picking up as you go. So example, if you're eating dinner on a plate, watch the plate. If you're watching TV, put the remote back and fold the blankets. So we're preparing for the next action, which is what you and I have talked about, of like setting the workout clothes out the night before, cooking the lunch the night before, just again, resetting the room. So it has to reduce the friction before the action, which helps make the habit easier. So reducing the friction would look like if I'm taking my workout clothes and putting them in by my toothbrush in the morning, the friction would be waking up the next morning, having to go pick out the clothes, make the decision about what I want to wear, and then getting dressed and like going to different rooms to do so. Whereas if I get my workout clothes the night before, put them next to my toothbrush and things like that, I've minimized every possible decision-making thing that I need to do, because they're right there and putting them on.
You're like minimizing the obstacles that could get in the way.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's talking about working out, set clothes out the night before, eating healthier, meal prep on the weekend, which is why you and I both meal prep on the weekend. Sunday is my meal prep. I think you usually do yours like Friday or Saturday, just kind of depending on when you have the time. But like the past 4 weekends, I think I've done my emails on Friday nights, my reminder emails. I've batched them all on a Friday night just because I had the time. And I was like, well, why not? Don't wait until Sunday to do it, because you already have things that you do on Sunday of like washing clothes, getting it put away, meal prepping, things like that. Do it before. And also it was football season. So
I'm also going to tell you right now, if I had to make myself dinner every night, I wouldn't eat.
There's no way.
Nope.
I'd have cereal.
I don't have it. Exactly. I don't have it in me to like, nope.
When I went watching the kids yesterday, I didn't have dinner. I didn't even have dinner. I was like, there's no way. I'm not. Jeff was like, I'll get you something. I was like, no, I'm done. I'm
literally.
I'm done. So he's talking about, to reverse the law, we need to make more friction to break the habit. So too much TV, unplug the TV after every use, only plug it back in. When you can say out loud the name of the show that you want to watch, to prevent mindless watching. And or he's talking even to like he goes pretty far in the book.
Yes,
so
like take it off the wall.
Unplugging the TV, taking it off the wall, putting it in the closet, taking the batteries out of the remote, which, hey, here's the thing. Do it. Fucking do it.
Here's the thing. Every night I will scroll through, I don't know, 3 or 4 apps to figure out what I'm going to watch just to fall asleep to it. And every night I'm like, it doesn't fucking matter what you put on because you're going to fall asleep. What are we doing?
Yeah, just click it and tick it. When I tell you my stepmom used to unplug the keyboard and take the mouse with her to work to get my dad to do things because he is procrastination city. When I tell you the keyboard would be gone, she'd bring it to work with her. I'm
Oh
not
my
kidding you.
God. She's a
Yeah.
savage.
Well, you had to be. Richard
I
H. is
guess.
ludicrous. He's out here living his best life playing Texas Hold'em.
Sounds like my dad.
It was so bad. She was like, "What have you done today?"
Oh
You
my
didn't
God.
done shit. You hadn't done shit. Anyways, so the greater the friction, the higher the likelihood you will not repeat the unwanted behavior. So the more obstacles you put in place, the more likely you are to not redo that behavior.
Mhm.
So habits are automatic choices that influence the conscious choices that follow. So I thought this was really, really cool as he, the thing after this 2-minute rule, I thought it was funny. So the 2-minute rule is decisive moments determine what happens with your future self. So changing into workout clothes versus coming home and sitting on the couch and then changing into workout clothes, that little amount of reduction and friction between that is what is going to create that operating in that identity that you've set for yourself. Like how we were talking about in the beginning of the book, you have to talk about the identity that
Mhm.
you want to be. Well, I want to be an athlete. Okay, well, what does an athlete do? So he talks about that. And he says your options are limited to the decisive moment. So he says, like when you walk into a steakhouse, you're getting steak, not sushi. And I thought that was such an easy but like aha moment of like these
Mhm.
little decisions that we need to make. I'm not looking at the menu. If we're going to a steakhouse, we know what we're getting. We're going to
Mhm.
do something that is, popular to that restaurant versus being like, oh, I'm going to have a burger. Like, no,
Mhm.
you're choosing what is there. So it's about removing the amount of options and choices that you have, which is something that we've kind of seen come up in the past couple of years with like, the pandemic and the things that Netflix has put out, the minimalists documentary,
Mhm.
Marie Kondo, does shit bring you joy, and hug it and see if it does. Like there's thought process behind those things, right? Of like clearing out that clutter and moving all these things away and reducing the amount of decisions that you have to make. It's huge. It's
Mhm.
huge. So the 2-minute rule is when you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. So if you want to read before bed, if that seems like a good habit to you, read one page. If you want to do 30 minutes of yoga at a time, take out your mat. If you want to fold the laundry, fold a pair of socks. Well, which like when he said that, I was like, you don't really fold socks, but okay. But like hang up a shirt, hang up a sweater. You want to meditate 30 minutes, hit 30 minutes, meditate 1 minute. So it's
Mhm.
just about getting it to be this small increment. So these first 2 minutes should be easy. That way it's a gateway habit. It naturally leads you down the path to wanting to continue this habit. The point isn't to do one thing, it's to master the habit of showing up.
Yep.
So again, it really has nothing to do with the 2 minutes. It's just mastering that you're showing up. Does that make sense?
Yep.
If it feels like you're trying to trick yourself, stop at the 2 minutes. So if you feel good after the 2 minutes, because realistically, he talks about that. Do start for 2 minutes. And if it doesn't feel good, then stop after 2 minutes. But realistically, once you show up and get into it, you're just going to continue the behavior, which
Mhm.
I think you and I can discuss this, I don't know, in so many ways from Sunday about how many times we have been like, I don't want to work out. I don't want to do this, blah, blah, blah. But once we show up, it's just about getting it done. It really
Mhm.
is. And it doesn't, I think that and I think you too, very cognizant of the fact that some days are going to look better than others. And some
One
days
million
are
percent.
just going to be honoring your body for what it needs. But it's about showing up.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So even if it's just going to gym 2 minutes a day, but if it's every day, you're proving to yourself that you're someone who cares about their health. So again, we're feeding into that identity that we want to believe, not necessarily just focused on this habit. Sometimes success is more about making bad habits difficult than it is about making good ones. So a commitment device is how this works. So looking in the future actions in your right mind versus making bad decisions in your triggered mind. So he talks about how to automate a habit and never think about it again. So the best way to break a bad habit is to make it that there's so much friction that you don't even have the option. So he gives examples. So for finance, it's like an automatic savings plan. So you set up this reoccurring amount that's just going to come out of your checking account after your direct deposit hits, that you don't even think about it. You don't even see it. Just like how many people have healthcare plans or health savings accounts or retirement accounts that just come out of their check and they don't ever see it.
Yep.
You just don't pay attention to it. So leaving your credit cards at home, again, that's creating more friction. Your credit cards are not with you. You don't know the numbers by heart. You actually have to have the credit card at the store. So it's just, again, creating that distance, and then having automatic bill payment too. So general health, setting your yearly doctor appointment at your yearly doctor appointment. Sleep, getting a new mattress or removing TV from the bedroom. So again, just creating the friction, making it easier with the new mattress or new sheets, depending on what you need. And then the friction is removing TV from the bedroom, and or like putting your remote that would be in your kitchen, or taking the batteries out of the remote, leaving the remote in the kitchen and the batteries in a different room. So the more friction you create, the less likely you are to be wanting to be in bed trying to watch TV and being like, okay, I need to go get the batteries from this room. I need to go get the remote from this place, and then put it all together and come back. Like, it's just not worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in summary, third law, make it easy. So reducing the friction, decreasing steps between you and the good habits. We're priming our environment, and we're mastering the decisive moments. So optimizing your small choices, using the 2-minute rule to help you, and then automatic habits like automatic savings plan or something like that. And then so using technology to our advantage. So just like we've talked about in the other 2 laws, the inversion to this law is the inversion to break a bad habit is to make it difficult. Again, increase the friction, use a commitment device to restrict your future choice to what benefits you. And he goes further into the restriction in the 4th law. So the 4th and final law, make it satisfying. So the cardinal rule is what is rewarded is repeated, and what is punished is avoided.
Mm-hmm.
So more likely to repeat a behavior if it's satisfying. Pleasure teaches your brain that it likes it and that it wants to keep it. So the first 3 laws focus on repeating the behavior this time. The 4th law focuses on repeating the behavior next time.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 2 different returns that are happening here. There's an immediate return. He gives the example of like wild animals hunting prey. It's an immediate gratification. I'm hunting my prey, I kill my prey, I get my prey right there. Delayed return is you're working today and you get a paycheck at the end of the week or at the end of 2 weeks. So the last 100 years is when we have shifted from a delayed return to a delayed return society. It used to be an immediate return, and now we've shifted to a delayed return society. And we're still operating in the immediate return environment. So there are some things that are feeding into the immediate return environment, right? And we have to remember that this book, I don't have the actual physical book.
Mine's in my office.
I feel like it was like 20, I want to say 2016. Let me see. I feel like it was like 2016, 2017. Published. 2018. So 2018, and I will say that while online shopping was big in 2018, post-pandemic, I feel like it is skyrocketed. So that's where I'm kind of like a little conflicted on the immediate and delayed. Like, there are some things that absolutely are delayed, but there are a lot of things that are immediate gratification, reinforcing in the environment that we are in today in 2023. Okay, so our brain prioritizes rewards. So looking at the fact, again, I've talked in the previous episode about how he talks a lot about smoking and losing weight as like examples. So he says smoking will kill you in 10 years, but it relieves stress now. Overeating will create health problems eventually, but it's appetizing in the moment. So our brain is prioritizing the reward as fast as we can get it. The cost of your good habits are in the present, and the cost of your bad habits are in the future, which is why so many people, like, I can't tell you how many times having celiac disease, I've met people who are completely okay with just eating gluten and being like, oh, it is what it is. And I'm like, guys, did you not read the potential problems that come if you continue to eat gluten? Like
Also,
you'll
it's miserable.
producing saliva and tears. You could have cancer. I could have RA. You could become infertile. You could have seizures. Like these are all things. If you continue to act like an asshole, like you're just gonna like that. Are you joking me? I was like,
Mm-hmm.
no, bro. You put seizures on there, and I was like, I'm good. I'll stop. Like no
Mm-hmm.
problem. Especially because some people, you say you feel miserable, or you like that would be miserable. Some people don't have the immediate reaction, like how I've experienced of like in the beginning it was whatever and now it's morphed into something else. But some people don't have that. Some people do not have, some people might have like a little bit of a skin issue. Some people might have like migraines and stuff like that, but some people don't have much of a problem. But then it's like just because you're not having a problem right now doesn't mean that you might have
Correct.
fucking seizures, in 10 years. I was like, okay, do you, boo? Do you? I'll never forget that. Anyways, so general rule, like you said, the more pleasure you get from an action, the more you need to ask yourself if it aligns with your goals. Oh, that's a general rule that you need to abide by, not the golden rule, the cardinal rule of like if it's pleasurable, it gets repeated. But the more pleasure you're getting from an action, the more you need to ask yourself if it aligns with your goals, just to make sure. Like, so if you're gaining pleasure, like, so smoking cigarettes, if you're gaining pleasure from smoking that cigarette, does that align with your goal, which is the identity that you've established in the beginning? I was like, I want to be a healthy person.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So reinforcement ties habit to immediate reward at the end of the habit. So example, if we want to be more productive or financial literate, creating a savings account or doing what you want, and then creating a savings account for what you want. Oh, okay. So here's his example. So if you want to be more productive in saving or financially literate, you're going to create a savings account. And then in that moment, if you're passing on Starbucks, you're going to immediately transfer $5 to that savings
Mm-hmm.
account. So it's that immediate gratification of like, okay, I wanted to do this, but I didn't. So I'm immediately going to save that money. So you go without Netflix, you're transferring $10. So the reward and goal can't be what you're working towards. So a bowl of ice cream for working out, a new jacket for one wanting to be financially stable. So like how many times has it been like health goals that people have had of like, okay, well, I'm going to have this cheat meal when I get here. And he's saying to try to avoid that because it's not necessarily helping pave the way for the goal and the habit that you want to make of choosing it like a reward, when in reality, it's like the goal is, the identity is to be a healthy person. And so if I want to be a healthy person understands that moderation is completely okay. And so I'm not going to take this thing and reward myself with it when moderation is okay. The goal is to be healthy and eat a healthy amount, eat a balanced amount, not to have this like restriction the whole entire week and then something like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So me rewarding myself with new shoes after making it through an emotionally hard week that's not appropriate.
It just all depends on what your identity is, babe. Just kind of
I'm gonna
depends.
be a bad bitch.
Yeah. So then aligned. What's
However,
the question?
neither one of us does it as much as we used to, and we
And bitch, because
recognize that.
when you were like, I bought new shoes, I was like, bitch, I spent so much on a Peloton apparel because they had
There
a
you
sale.
go.
Like, so,
Yep.
I mean,
And I stopped at one pair. I could have bought more, and I was like, I mean, I just really want these.
I got a couple
Granted,
of
my
sets.
other
I'm not
Vans,
gonna lie, I got a couple of sets.
my other Vans are worn the fuck out. They're like
Yeah.
3.5 years old. Do I have other shoes? Yeah, I do.
Sure, maybe.
Did I want these because they're so fucking cute?
Yes.
Yeah. So, and I
my
feel better.
80s heart is not going to be upset about them. So
That's exactly right.
beautiful. I was like, kudos. Yes. I was too busy with the kids. I didn't even get to be like, bitch, I spent money at Peloton, so not a big deal.
I knew you would support me. That's why I said to you, because I was like, she's gonna praise me. So
you see this fucking pile of clothes here. Old Navy had pants on sale because I got my linen pants from there. They had pants on sale for $20. So I was like, but five pairs done. So I'm gonna see. They look like they're gonna fit. They look like they're fine. But I love my linen pants.
I get it.
Anyways,
I wish they looked cute on me. They don't.
I love them so much.
I was like a frumpy frump person.
They're so comf. But you look so cute in sweatpants, and I don't. I look like a raggedy bitch. Like a raggedy bitch. Your sweatpants you worn it to work. I was like, bitch, those are so cute, but
They're
I
the
can't
most comfortable $20 sweatpants from Target. I also sized
Yeah,
up to a
I look
2XL. They're great.
you know what? That's the key.
That's the
I gotta
key. 100%.
I gotta size up because
Yeah,
they look so comfortable. I'm like, she's
they
so
are.
cute. Meanwhile, over here, I'm like, I was in a dress. I was so mad. I was like, I'm uncomfortable.
But you looked cute.
Yeah, right. But I'm uncomfortable. Did I need to buy that dress in 2 colors? No. Did I? Yes.
Yes, you did.
I did.
You did.
Because Kathleen is present in my life. If you like it, you buy it in more than one color. And I can't
Yep.
tell you how many times that's been reinforced in my life
Yes.
where I bought something and I was like, I don't need it in another color. And then guess what? I don't
That's
have
why
it.
that reel is a thing, because it's very true.
It's real.
Mhm.
I'm gonna get it in another color. Anyways. Okay, where was I?
Rewarding yourself.
Yes. So, I already said that. Incentives start a habit and identity keeps it. So again, that's why in the very beginning of this process, it's important to figure out the identity. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go listen to the other 2 episodes. Habit trackers are visual cues that keep you going. So example, moving marbles to pounds lost in a jar, which is so legitimate because when I used to go to medical weight loss and wellness and doing the keto diets, if you lost weight, you got to take the little glass pebbles and move them to a jar. And the jars were like in the center of the room so everybody could see the pebbles being moved. So moving paper clips per sales call that you make to a jar, moving rubber bands from wrist to wrist to keep track of a habit. So he talks a lot in this section about how, writing down and habit tracking has been something that's been an age-old thing. So he talked about Benjamin Franklin was a master at writing this down. He wrote down his goals every day. Jerry Seinfeld does a habit tracker with his jokes, and he continuously writes them down. What ones hit, what ones don't. So talking about like don't break the chain. This is why bullet journals work. It applies to all the laws, and that's why my bullet journal is alive and well, and it functions so well for me of being able to track my clients, track my finances, track my appointments, like it just works. So habit tracking as it relates to the laws. So the first law, create visual cues to act. The second law is inherently motivating because you see the progress you're making and don't want to lose it. The third law feels satisfying when you record another instance of your habit. So habit tracking provides visual proof that you are casting votes towards the person you want to be. So if you go to atomichabits.com/tracker, he has free trackers there.
Also, I'm going to stop you. One of our listeners, Bree, created some beautiful trackers that she said that we can share with you guys. So if you want them, just reach out and let me know and I'll send them to you.
Let us know. Thank you so much, Bree. That was very sweet of you.
Yes.
And I love habit trackers. So so this forces you into 2 habits, the habit you want to build and the habit you want to build and the tracking. So there's 2 habits that are coinciding together. He talks a lot about this in the book of never missing a habit twice. So you don't miss 2 days. So it's fine if there is a day missed, but it is so important to show up the next day. Otherwise, you are starting to build a new habit. And Mel Robbins talks about this a lot in her 5-second rule book as well, which I think that's where I was getting the 2015, 2016 from, because that came out before Atomic Habits did, and both have a lot of the same principles. So sometimes a loss is better than focusing on a success. So a bad workout is better than no workout. You're still proving to yourself that you're a healthy person. So when he says a bad workout is better than no workout, I don't really take bad out.
Well,
So
and
when
even
I
just
go,
any movement is more than no movement.
Yep. So when I go downstairs, it is about honoring my body because I work out in my basement. It is about honoring my body. So some days I'm going to show up and I'm going to fucking rep them weights and it's going to feel so good and I'm going to be sore. It's going to be wonderful. And other days I'm going to do a fucking walk. I'm going to do a meditation. I may do a stretch. Just kind of depends. But I'm showing up daily and proving to myself that I'm somebody who takes care of myself.
Yep.
And so I don't work out because I'm wanting to lose weight. I don't work out because I'm wanting to be XYZ. I'm working out because I'm important and I need to give to myself before I give to anybody else. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So pain is huge in this. So if a failure is painful, it gets fixed. So bad reviews on food, the food gets fixed. The cost of cutting the wrong vein makes the surgeon master the anatomy. So the more immediate the pain, the faster we stop. Increase the speed of consequence with the bad behavior. So late fees for credit cards. If there's something that is a painful moment, then that is what causes the habit to not continue. This is something that I was very diligent about, and Steph was very diligent about when we were creating our business. Our business is self-pay. And so you are handing me over your money that is hard earned, that you want to see return on. And I want you to see return on. I want our sessions to be purposeful. And so when you're paying cash, and you know that there is a late fee, if you were late canceling or no showing me, then I'm taking half of that fee and I'm keeping that. That is an immediate painful reaction, which is going to cause you to not do that. I will say the difference between being in an agency and having late fees and cancels and no shows and things like that versus being in a self cash pay business, the difference is night and day. Night and day. So habit contracts are verbal agreements with an accountability partner. So he at atomichabits.com/contract has contracts that you can think about. So he talks in that part a lot about how I think his friend was wanting to work out or do something. I don't know what it was, but he would do it throughout the week, and he signed a contract, dated it, had a friend sign it that he would
Instead
pay.
if I don't have to pay you money or something, right?
Yeah, like it was like $100 or some. And so James Clear, his habit contract with his friend was that he would delete social media off of his phone for the week, and his secretary or personal assistant would reset his passwords, and he would only get the passwords until on Friday night. So then he would have it through the weekend, and then it would all happen all over again starting Monday, so that it wouldn't be a distraction. And it was this habit contract between him and somebody that he trusted of like, okay, I'm done. So genes do play a role. So this is in my mind. So he was talking a lot about like different body types, right? Because there's many different body types. So I wrote, can't be a stick when you're born with hips. So like there's just some things that we're going to have to come to like have it, coming to, what did you say?
Come to terms with.
Yes, come to terms with. So you have to just choose what naturally comes to you. So I can understand that I'm never going to be like,
Kate Moss.
Yes, Kate Moss, which nor do I want to be, right? Because I enjoy my body. So it is about being able to understand what are the limitations that I'm born with. So they don't determine your destiny, they just determine your areas of opportunity. So the Goldilocks rule.
Break into people's houses and eat their food.
Yeah. And then
and try not to get caught.
And be upset that nothing pertains to you because you broke into the house. So humans experience peak performance when bordering on a line of what you can actually accomplish. So example, zone training. Once you do this, you can reach a flow state. So it really is just about that consistency and showing up and figuring out where that zone is for you. So once we get bored with a routine, we search out something, even if it's working. So example, if you have to fall in love with the boredom from the habits are necessary for mastery. They don't equate it. So this is what we were talking about when, how we talked about this in a previous episode. People think that habits and routines remove spontaneity.
Like stifling,
that are stifling on all of these things. When in reality, if you just condense the things that you want to do, you have all this freedom on the opposite end. So how to summarize the fourth law, right? Make it satisfying is what it is. So we're using reinforcements. So immediate reward versus delayed. We are using habit trackers, never miss twice. So the consistency is key. And then the inversion. So the how to break the bad habit would be make it unsatisfying. So get an accountability factor and make a habit contract. So when he talks about, like, after this is all said and done, you're making these habits in your life, he talks about reviewing and reflecting what builds mastery. So having a yearly or quarterly review is going to be helpful. So what went well, what didn't go well, what did I learn? And then an integrity report. and it helps revisit our core values, which is when we talk about doing goals and gratitudes. It is something I visit on a 6-month to a yearly basis of redoing those goals to make sure that those are still things that feel good to me. There's still things that like I
I
want
do
to.
that like every day, to be honest, where I look at
Mhm.
goals and I'm like, I don't want to work on that anymore. Like that's not
Yeah,
important
like
to me, you
yeah,
know?
yeah. Why am I writing that down
Yeah,
stuff?
like that's not even something that I'm like aiming towards right now. So scrap that.
Yeah. So this was it feels like a big undertaking, but it feels like it's just a lot of information in
I was just saying it's just a lot of information.
3 sessions in 3 episodes. So please revisit the episodes as much as you need to be able to have this solidified in your mind. And again, understanding that this is I just coughed
I was
right
gonna say
in.
you're literally coughing right into
Guys, anyways, I'm new at this, okay? I'm so used to like, what did I
I
buy this
know.
$100 and some mic for? And I'm just using this cheap Apple, whatever. Anyways, please revisit the other episodes that we have done as much as you need to understand and or just take notes. I know that I speak quickly, so if you have the opportunity, slow it down.
Probably
Because
sounds so weird.
it is just a and it's like me when I listen to audiobooks. I listen to them at like
4
1.5.
speed.
Yeah, well, like 1.5 to like 1.7. And when I slow it down to like 1.0 of like what it is, it's like,
One time I did that on accident and I was freaking out that something was wrong with my podcast. I was like,
oh,
what is fucking happening? It was
oh
too
my
much
God,
for me.
Stephanie, it was so awful. It was so bad. I was like, oh, I'd just never listen to audiobooks again if this is what it was. Anyways, hopefully this helps you at least start to focus on creating a new identity of what feels good to you and what feels purposeful. And remember that the identity that you are potentially choosing this year does not have to be the identity that you choose halfway through this year, at the end of next year, and 5 years from now, and 10 years from now. That it is so healthy to consistently reevaluate where you are in life and make changes accordingly.
Yep.
So you can find us at Rewriting Her Story Podcast on Instagram and YouTube. You can email us any questions, concerns, comments at rewritingherstorypodcast@gmail.com. You can find stuff at The Spooky Therapist, and you can find me at BEA_XO11. Until next time, bye.
Bye.